Hello, my name is Joseph Meyer, and today we'll be doing a quick rundown of the safe web demo main.js file. So you'll notice 4 variables at the top of the page. The first one is where the app token is stored. The second one is the one that gets the file content. The third one is where the select line goes, so the select file line. The fourth one is the container that you wish to choose, so you can change this out with public or underscore music if you wanted to. The next part we'll look at are the event listeners. The event listeners look for when a button is clicked and then invoke the corresponding function of that button. This means when I click on the authorize button, it will look for the function authorize and then execute it. So we'll take a look at function authorize now. We can see that there's 3 variables to start off with: var app, var permissions, and var own container. Var app includes metadata about the website, which will show up when you request to authorize the website. Var permissions includes the containers you want to access and what permissions you want from those containers. So I'm requesting read, insert, update, delete, and manage permissions from public and public names. And lastly, var own container. Own container is a boolean value, so if you set that to true, the website itself will have its own container where it can store its own files. These permissions aren't actually required for this website, but a lot of websites will probably need them, so I've included them anyways. After that, we have window.safeapp.initialize. We pass along the variable app, and then that'll return the app token. The app token will then be passed on to another function called window.safeapp.authorize, and we'll also pass along the variables permissions and own container. This will then pass back an auth URI. We can then use this URI to authorize our app token. So if we do window.safeapp.connect authorized, we'll then get back the same app token that we got from initialize, but will now be authorized to use on the website. Once we have that, we save it to the global variable auth so it can be used in the other functions on the website. After that, we can see the error and console.error. What this does is it will give an error if something goes wrong in this chain of functions. The next function we have is token valid. It will first check if the app token is registered or authorized. It will then check the network state of the safe browser. The next function we'll look at is function showFiles. It starts off by getting our container that's declared at the top of the main.js file. It then returns that container's mutable data handle. This will be used from now on for identifying the container. After that, a div tag in the HTML file is emptied so that it's ready for icons to be added to it. After that, the name and tag of the container is retrieved, which can be used for identifying the container. The next function is getEntries. This retrieves the entries in the mutable data handle of the container. It then gets the entries handle of the mutable data container, which can then be used to return all the keys and values in that container. The keys and values correspond to the file names and file contents. We can then use this to append an icon with the file name underneath it to the div tag we cleared earlier. After that, you'll see safe mutable data entries.free entries handle and safe mutable data.free md handle. These are commented out because I'm not too sure how to implement them just yet. You may have seen uint to string a few places in the show files. What that does is it will convert a unit array to text. The upload file function first of all invokes another function called blob to buffer. This gets the file content and returns it to a buffer that the safe DOM API can read. After that, it gets the container and returns a mutable data handle. It then requests a new mutation and then returns the mutation handle. After that, it inserts the mutation handle with the file name and the file content. It then applies that mutation to the network with the mutable data handle and the mutation handle. It then brings back a toast that says that the mutable data has been commented to the network. The next function is update file. I'll start off by getting the blob to buffer again. It then gets our container and then requests a new mutation handle. After that, it gets the value of the entry we wish to update. It then uses update to update the entry. We have to pass along the mutation handle, the file path.value, which is the key, and then the content we wish to update our entry with. After that, it increases the value version, which we got from get, by 1. So it'll be the latest entry in the mutable data. It then applies this to the network. The function blob to buffer gets the file content, which is a blob, and then converts it to a special buffer that the SafeDOM API can read. The function saveEdit is like the update file function, except it only applies to text that has been retrieved in the browser. The SafeDOM API is able to read strings natively, so it doesn't have to be converted to a buffer. Other than that, it acts like the update file function. The delete function starts off by getting the container and then getting a new mutation handle. With those, it uses safe mutable data mutation.remove to remove the value from a mutable data entry. It uses the key to select the entry, which in this case is filepath.value. After that, it applies the entry to the network with apply entries mutation. This means if I were to click on the show button, the file would still turn up even though its content is empty. I believe there is a way around this by using the update function and updating the file name and the file content as empty. Although, since this is the way that is referenced in the save docs, I'm going to stick around with this. The function getFile starts off by getting the container. It then uses safe mutable data.get, which returns the value of a mutable data entry. It then invokes the readFile function with the key and the value of the entry, which in this case is filepath.value and value.buff. The function readFile requires two variables, name and file content. These correspond to the file name and its content. After that, the div tag fileshow is emptied. Then a new variable called file is created. This is a new file object that gets the file content and the name that was passed down earlier. Then the file type is logged and a toast is made with the file type. Then the file type is used to decide on how the file should be read in the browser. If it's a .txt file, it'll be read as text. If it's a .jpeg file, it'll be read as an image. If it's .mp3 file, it'll be read as audio, and if it's .mp4, it'll be read as video. Otherwise, it'll be just a download button which gives the option to download the file. And here we have the functions that can read the file: read as text, read as image, read as audio, read as video, and download. Although read as text has another option where you can edit the file directly in the browser and then save it directly to the network. After that, function freeToken frees the app token from memory so the website is no longer authenticated or registered. One thing I'd like to show off before I go is that the safe browser is able to accept code directly into its console. So if I paste this into here, press enter, you can see here we get the initialization token back. This can be handy if you want to test out your code and you don't want to have to go through using the web hosting manager. Just one thing to note is that if you click a button on the website and it invokes a function that's mentioned in your main.js file, and in the console it'll invoke the function twice instead of invoking the latest version on the console. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed.